Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on this, my journey into the constraints-led approach for BJJ. I'm your host, Sam Battlefields, and today I got the old crew back, the OG morning crew. Ben, who hasn't been training with us for a few months because he got another job elsewhere, has arrived back for a couple of months, hopefully, and he, at the same time, Ridwan is back from a month off himself, which meant that, and also Aaron was not in. So, just a bit of history. Ben was my first consistent, and I would say the guy that made sure that I was coming in every morning and made sure that the morning class actually begun. So props to him. And Ridwan was not far behind him, so a couple of months behind him, and so we're training under me as under the old IP methodology or pedagogy, and so therefore they definitely I can see in them the improvements even in the time, because Ben left just after I started this, so he came in this morning. And it was really cool because he came in and we'd already started a game. And as you know, I start my games with stand-up. So this time it was a boxing game, and there was a real... I really thought about this as to why I wanted to do it. So we were doing a boxing game, but that you could only hit the torso. So there was no shoulders. So automatically, it was cool because automatically everyone lowered, so me and Ridwan just dropped, and we're much lower, which kind of keeps the torso a bit further away because you're kind of at an angle and trying to get through that way. And so Ben rocked up while this was happening, and I was like, oh wow, this is cool, and he got involved, and that was cool as well. I explained to him as part of the buy-in process, he had done some of the ecological dynamics approach or the constraints-led approach with me prior to, but it was prior to doing the stand-up, the three sections of grappling. So he came in, did that, and then so he had a lot of fun. He actually started to implement a bit of grappling even in that game, more trapping, so it was cool to see almost like a no, I won't say Wing Chun. I don't really respect Wing Chun. Wing Chun has a lot more, it's a lot more upright. So in this case, but it was trapping. So as someone was coming through, like blocking it and sort of going in for something, which the second game that we played was building off that. So I wanted to see if that just focusing on the body would drop people's levels, and surprise, surprise, it did. And part of the second game that I wanted to do was same deal, but then the chest on the back is the goal, whatever the configuration. So essentially what this resulted in was I was going for a lot of snap downs, which tends to be my modus operandi anyway, whereas Ridwan got a really good double leg on me, just like a blast double, so boom, 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 straight underneath and got it, which was gold, really, really cool, perfect timing, etc., etc. And then Ben did the same. Well, he got a single leg on Ridwan, which was again really, really well timed. So really happy with how that constraint worked for that game. I am keen to keep playing with sort of taking away certain elements in order to get timings right. I genuinely think it's like the last few times that I've created these striking games, it's been around. So that one where I did the lead hand and then the rear handing, you couldn't use you could only use rear, or in the next game the rear hand, forward hand. You get it. Going back and forth. But yes, I'm actually liking the striking side of things, because I am seeing that it's benefiting me in my footwork, in my IQ of seeing openings. So that's really cool. I'm still in this kind of and I'm going to say this, I'm still in this kind of boat where I'm like, yeah, but there's no stakes, as in, there's no, like, oh, I'm going to get knocked here if I, so I'm going to get knocked here if I don't protect myself, so, you know, there's no imperative to keep your hands up, but, yeah, that's something I'd like to maybe have a chat with Scott about. I might ask him directly on the Discord. But yeah, it's something I'm struggling with. Is there's no imperative to keep your hands in a protective way. I found that I would drop my hands quite considerably. It's definitely something that I'm going to have to contend with. Second game was basically half guard, almost at that kind of dogfight. You know, you've got your arm over their back and you're up on your side, so you're grabbing onto their opposite lat, and the goal for the person is to get their chest on the back, whatever that configuration is. This turned out to be quite a. I thought it would. I thought that I probably could have made some further constraints. In that, you know, I didn't want it to be just one person trying to stop them from getting the back, but I also think that by allowing, so the flip side of it is the person on top, all they had to do was get a chest-to-chest pin, which essentially meant their legs unencumbered, which is what the Ecological dynamics is, and I've kind of been using that a little bit. That terminology, the chest-to-chest pin, mainly because it's a I'm trying, and later on in this lesson was kind of an example of why I'm using that, because and I think it might have even been due to this exercise. Ben said, you know, I saw a technique that I could have used, but then I could have used another technique, and I was like, yeah, see, that's still in that linear progression sort of thing. So I was like, don't worry about the techniques. Think about the goal, and the goal was to get, you know, chest to back, and the person on top chest to chest with a pin. I think because we have worked on half guard a little bit, people's half guards are really good. So I think Ridwan moved when I tried something. He moved from half guard straight into mount, or not straight into, but like with a lot less. With a lot less resistance than I probably would have liked to have put up, but it was testament to timing and all that kind of thing, which is great, you know, and and so some of the thoughts around that as well were pretty good. Like the guys were on track there. The final game. Before I go on, I've jacked up my left elbow. And I'm just kind of throwing these in, but I've jacked up my left elbow, and I think it was from the stand-up game, because where you're going sort of down the centre towards, and very much. Have you seen that Strickland? He's like a thick, moustached. Anyway, he snaps on like a sort of an Americana. Thing, and Strickland goes apeshit, and I think something like that happened to me today, but with an arm drag. So as the arm got dragged, it kind of, I don't know, like, yeah. So my elbow's a bit jacked up, and this is going to sound really fucking stupid, but I've got for the past 3-4 days, I've had a splinter or something in the bottom of my foot, and I've got a really thick pad on the bottom of my foot, and so the splinter's gone all the way through to the actual fucking nerve, you know, where I can feel it, and because my pad's so thick, I can't see it, I can't get to it, I can't dig it out, and it's like it's sending me bonkers right now, to be honest. Just the feeling, I can feel it's just like just touching it, and then when I stand on it, obviously it goes fuck. So anyway, that's a me problem, not a you problem. Thanks for listening to me whinge. But yeah, because it's back control week, and I wanted to do, so Tuesday I did a back control drill where we weren't using our hands to hand fight, we were just using our legs to get out, so escape. So and part of the reason why I find that my back control is really terrible. So I find it as really unless I'm like they're face down and I'm on top of them, my back control is shit. So I was really trying to figure out throughout this week why my back control sucks. But I think all of these are, anything like that is actually beneficial regardless. So the specificity of the constraint being, I called it the Titanic, and then Ridwan's sitting there like this, and it's like, bro, you don't need to actually be the Titanic thing. You just need to not use your arms as a method of getting out. And and something that, so what we did today was you can't leg pummel. So I could use my feet on the ground, but I couldn't try and kick the legs off, kick the hooks out or anything like that. I could only push off the ground. And the person on the back, their goal was to get their forearm under the chin and touching touching the opponent's opposite shoulder. So boom, like that. And a lot came out of this. It was actually really, really interesting because firstly, as soon as that arm starts going in, if you're not controlled in all other manners, and it's actually if you're not controlled in all three other points, so both the hooks and your secondary control, which is something, then it's probably not going to work. And what I'm thinking I might do tomorrow, and this is only very early on in the kind of the planning space that I like to work within, but I want to do sort of grip fighting that I'm trying to get that opposing grip stuff that what's his name that Gordon Ryan gets before he gets the choke in. So I'm going to be doing a bit of research today around that and how I can create a game around that. But this time it was literally just person on the bottom was trying to get their back to the floor. Now there was a bit of an issue with that as a goal because there was a few times where so for example, there was a time where it was really obvious that, like, by getting you back to the floor, that I would have taken that arm and broken it. And there was another instance where the person who had, turned around in guard and was in guard and then kind of flopped to their back because that was the game. So from, I think I should have had dual goals with that rather than just a singular goal, because that didn't end up looking, that end part didn't look like grappling. But what was really cool about that for the two guys was both of them were saying, oh yeah, I could see that this was an option, but I could see that I could have gone for this, but I didn't because, and that was really cool. So I'm gonna get a bit deeper meaningful on this now. I feel a little lost at the moment. I feel like I've hit a bit of a plateau. I don't know, it very much could be, and this is going to sound weak as fuck, but it very much could be because everywhere I'm walking, I am feeling this fucking stabbing pain in my foot. Like it's really wearing my mental down. So that could be a factor, but I, based on what happened yesterday and just a couple of things today, I just wasn't. I don't know if I wasn't in the zone. I don't think I've been in the zone the last couple of days while rolling. Like, maybe it's a trade-off. Maybe it is a trade-off. My coaching, I felt in the zone, to a degree. My coaching, I felt probably more in the zone in prep than I did in practice. I don't know if that even makes sense, but I definitely wasn't getting the endorphins from the rolls, and I was definitely more involved in my rolls, so wasn't in flow states. And yeah, I mean, this, as I said, this may be because the I'm just constantly getting jabbed in the bottom of the foot. So anyway, I will leave it there. I hope that a little bit of dose of reality comes up for everyone, and people don't see me as the Superman that you probably all do. I'm joking. It's self-deprecating / no, it's not really self-deprecating. Anyway, I'm rabbiting now. Thanks for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe. Picked up a whole heap of subscribers lately, so I really appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.